Annual meeting. This is for the Board of Directors for the Health and Hospitals Insurance Company, which is a licensed captive insurance company in the state of New York. So our meeting is now called to order. Just to note, Karen Senhilaire will be representing Molly Lassa Park in voting capacity today. First item on the agenda is, do I hear a motion for approval of our minutes from last year?
So moved.
Okay, and second, and anyone opposed to our approval? There being none, minutes are approved. All right, we'll take the next group of issues here piece by piece. And so the next one is actually going to be the appointment of the officers of the Health and Hospitals Board. So let me begin by Dr. Mitchell Katz, Andrea Cohen, John Olberg, Dr. Sue Tecchi, and myself as being members of the board. Reappointment of myself as chairman of the board of directors. And lastly, as far as the remaining officers, again, myself as president, Dr. Tecchi would be vice president, Andrea Cohen would be the secretary, John Olberg as a treasurer, David Chung is appointed as executive director, and Christina Alcey is appointed as claim director. Again, may I have a motion?
So moved.
And second? Second. All right, any questions, discussion? Okay, if not, if I could have vote in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. All right, so those are now carried. Next item is going to be the issuance of professional liability insurance policies to members of the Health and Hospitals Physician Purchasing Group. And again, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All right, and again, any questions? Conversation, if not, again, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Okay, there being no opposition, the motion is carried. The next item is going to be the reappointment of Joanne Cockley as the Aon Risk Consultant, as the actuary of the company. Again, may I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Okay, any questions, discussions? If not, please, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Next item is the appointment of Eric Crossett as KPMG LLP as the auditor of the company for our financial statements for the year ending December 31st, 2025. Again, may I have a motion? So moved. Second.
Second.
Again, any questions, discussions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. There being none, motion carries. Next item is going to be the approval of the issuance of the primary insurance policies to the members of the HHC Physicians Purchasing Group, or the PPG. It amounts of $1.3 million per occurrence, $3.9 million in aggregate, effective January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026. Again, may I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second. Any questions, discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries. The next item is the motion that authorizes the loan back of the premium, the amount of $3 million to the parent corporation, New York City Health and Hospitals. And Nancy Gray of Aon can give us a real brief description of the loan back.
Sure. So the HHC does not retain any cash in the captive entity. As such, all the funds are loaned back. So what's being authorized in resolution is to loan back up to $3 million. It is intended at this point that it will actually be $1.3 million that we will be loaning back, which is the amount of the premium. The current balance of the loan back is $97,225,173, with an additional loan back proposed of $1.3 million, which will result in an ending balance at the end of the year of $98,525,173. We are authorized by the Department of Financial Services, the regulators, for up to $103 billion. So that's their $103 million. So we are still within that restricted amount.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve? And a second?
Second.
Okay, and any other questions or for Nancy? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion carries. Thank you for that. Next motion is for the acceptance of the audited financial statements as of December 31, 2024. And Nancy, if you could also give a brief discussion of that.
Sure, so we do have in the board materials, the audited financial statements as of 12/31/2024, with the audit opinion given by KPMG, the company's auditors, and they did provide an opinion that the financial statements are in accordance with statutory financial statements. There was no audit adjustments included in the audited financial statements. From a balance sheet perspective, we continue to have 99.6 million of total emitted assets, unassigned surplus of 95.3 million. The income for the year was on the next page. So the income for the year, or the net income, was 1.3 million, comprised of underwriting income of 1.4 and loss after expenses of 1.6 million. We did have some administrative expenses of 283,000, which resulted in the net income of 1.3 million for the year. There was no significant changes from the prior year in the various notes to the audited financial statements. And so there's no significant changes to report to the board from that perspective. Happy to answer any questions on the audited financial statements that the board might have, but we do have more recent unaudited financial statements to present.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second? All right, and again, if there are any questions, there being none, though, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Okay, motion does carry. Next motion is the acceptance of the business continuity plan for the company, and Nancy will comment on that as well.
So as part of being a regulated captive insurance company in the state of New York, we are required for the board to review the business continuity plan of the company. We have included a copy. There are no significant changes from what we presented last year, except for some updates in terms of personnel changes. Otherwise, we still have a robust plan that has been reviewed by the regulators, and they have not had any comments or changes required to our continuity plan. We also have the disaster response plan included as well. Again, no significant changes from the prior year.
Okay, again, any questions? Okay, motion to pass, please. Second?
Second.
All right, and again, there being no questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed, please say no. Motion carries. And our final motion is the approval of disaster response plan for the company. And again, Nancy, any further comment on
Yeah,
that?
no significant changes from last year, other than some updates to some of the personnel involved working on the company.
Okay, and again, any questions? Okay, motion please to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, again, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion does carry. Lastly, Nancy is also going to give a brief presentation for the informational items.
Sure, thank you. So the new applications for coverage have been received for 19 OBGYNs and neurosurgeons. As of June 30th, 2025, there was 265 active physicians in the program, and the primary policies for the current policy year have been issued by the company. Applications for excess coverage through MMIP were filed for 200 health and hospital physicians beginning July 1st of 2020. Of the 200 excess applications filed, all the doctors have been deemed eligible to receive excess coverage through the pool. One has not been approved by the hospital. It was determined that during the application process that 44 physicians already were covered by the pool for excess coverage through other hospitals and carriers. There are 11 doctors that are awaiting at this moment excess coverage through the pool because final numbers have not been determined. As part of getting the coverage, the company was required to sign up as a plan or pool participant of the medical malpractice insurance pool back in 2007. The company, like other New York insurance companies providing med mal coverage, opt to be a pool participant. The June 30th, 2025 session statement from the pool indicates that the company has a net equity in the pool of $1,369,812. This is as per this exhibit, which is quite small, but hopefully in your actually written board materials, actual hard copy board materials, you'll see that. We have also included the interim financial statements of the company in the board materials. So starting with the balance sheet, this includes the program as it relates to the hospital system as well as our participation in an MMI pool. We have total assets as of June 30th of $100,972,000. Of that balance, $97.2 million is an intercompany note receivable, and $1.3 million is a premium receivable from the health system, and then the MMIP receivable is $2.4 million. We have total liabilities as of June 30th of $5 million. Of that balance, about $2.1 million is claim reserves, and there is an intercompany payable of $2 million. So we have total net assets as of June 30th of $95.9 million. On the next page, we had a couple pages in, we actually have the comparative statement of income. On the statement of income, we have a change in unrestricted net assets of $563. We have a change in unrestricted net assets of $593,000. Of this balance, we have gross written premiums of $1.3 million, or gross premiums earned for 6 months of $662,000, for total income of $702,000. We had some expense items for the first 6 months of net losses and loss adjustment expenses of $87,000. Recoverable, so it was a negative expense, and general and administrative expenses of $189,000. So on a net basis, total expenses was $109,000. Looking at, again, the change in unrestricted assets being $593,000 for the 6 months. Of that balance, $139,000 was related to the profit on our participation in the MMIP pool. And then the direct, which is for the coverage offered by the company, is $455,000. So that is my presentation on the unaudited financial statements. Are there any questions on that? Hearing none, the next item is the claims report. So Gallagher Bassett has reported 71 open files and 565 closed files for the underwriting years 2005 through 2025. Of the closed files, 41 were closed with payment and 524 files were closed without payment. Any questions on the claims report?
Can I just ask a question about the financials?
Sure.
The intercompany loan receivable. How long does it typically take for the cash to actually come over to HHC insurance company?
It doesn't actually ever flow to the company, the cash. So everything's run through the intercompany note.
So it forever remains an intercompany loan receivable. We would never see a cash
Correct.
part on this balance sheet.
Correct. We do have an intercompany payable that will settle through the intercompany note as well. So basically, New York City Health and Hospital Corp pays any expenses of the captive, any G&A expenses or any claims expenses that are paid, and we run those through the intercompany payable or the intercompany receivable account. that's why it keeps increasing.
So it's just an offset, so then technically, let's say when you're paying expenses, who's the check from?
The check is actually coming from New York City Health and Hospital Corp. Yeah, we just don't maintain a bank account on the company.
Thank you.
The next item is the summary request pending approval from the New York Department of Insurance. This is an annual request for certain items. We do request permitted practice to file on a statutory basis. We also request waiver of the actual certification of MMIP loss reserves. So we would be required to file an actual reserve certifying the loss reserves on our balance sheet, but MMIP already has the actual study done, so we do request a waiver on behalf of the company, so we don't have to do a second one. And then finally, we do request a permitted practice request to carry the MMIP balances on a statutory basis of accounting rather than GAAP accounting as the financial statements are issued. Those are all pending. We don't expect any difficulties in getting the approvals from the New York DFS. The next item is the regulatory compliance review. This is a two-page checklist. Really, it goes through and identifies as a regulated captive insurance company in the state of New York. There are various requirements from reports, filings, maintenance of corporate documentation. And so we have provided a status of each of these items for the 12/31/2024 year. Everything has been completed. Well, of course, we'll be starting that cycle again for 12/31/2025. Whenever we have any changes under corporate documentation, if we have any changes in officers and directors, we do need to file a biographical affidavit with the regulators. So we will note that requirement for the change today that was for the change in officer that was elected. The other item is on the second page to note, since the board materials have been released, we have been contacted by the New York DFS, and they are starting their examination of the company as of 12/31/2024. So they will be reviewing the audit work papers, our files, and expect there'll be some questions coming through for David and others that work on the captive. So that's the items. And then if there's any other questions, yep.
Given the big beautiful bill and any sort of regulations around AI, do you see that factoring into how this compliance checklist or things you'll have to do in 2026 will change?
No, New York hasn't come out with any new requirements from that standpoint, so we're subject to regulation only by the New York Department of Financial Services, and they have not come up. They do have pretty robust on the cyber security, so that we have comply, and there's various requirements that we have to comply on an annual basis as it relates to that, but that's the extent of it. So that completes my report on the other informational items, unless there's any specific questions for me.
Okay, any questions? Any old business or new business? Okay, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you. And